Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm mainly making this video because of the new changes on PTE that's going to start tomorrow, 7th of August 2025. I have so far made all the 4 videos for reading, writing, speaking and listening for PTE test, and I was actually happy with it, but since I saw that the new changes are going to be applied tomorrow, which is the 7th of August, I thought I should make a new video on the 2 new activities in the speaking module, which is the Summarize, group discussion and respond to a situation in the speaking module. The rest remains the same, so you can still watch my videos that I made and get the tips and tricks from there and practice accordingly. That's why I'm making a new video specifically talking about the 2 new activities. Wait, before I say another word, please don't forget to subscribe because that really helps my channel grow and it also keeps me going. Thank you. People are really worried and are questioning if the new changes in the PTE will make a huge difference and if it will be very difficult to score marks. I want to assure you that it will not be difficult. It will still be the same. The only changes in the test is the 2 additional activities, which is in the speaking module only. So after watching this video, I hope you will be able to understand what it is, and you will be aware that the 2 new activities in the speaking module are just like any other activities that are already there. It's just a little bit different. So please don't worry, I'm sure you will be able to score good marks in it as well. Before I start talking about the new changes in the PTE, I have something very important to share with you guys, which I feel will really be helpful for you, especially if you are an international student or is someone who is aspiring to be one. Before I came to Australia, my first worry was who am I going to stay with? Luckily, I had my cousin who I stayed with for the first few months. This might not be the situation for everyone who is going to come to a new place to study and also work. That's why Amber Student is the solution for your problem and worries. Amber Student is an online platform exclusively for students. What it does is it helps you find affordable accommodation in the city you want to live in and near the universities where you are going to study in. Having the right accommodation figured out before you even move to the city or even when you move within the city really helps you feel at ease and reduces the stress in the already stressful international student journey. Amber Student not only deals with student accommodation with amazing accommodation prices, but students who book Amber properties also get great discounts through our partners on international flights, airport pickups, money transfers, free eSIM, and much more. These are all the services by Amber Student which will make your transition smooth in a new city as an international student. So to learn more about Amber Students and to enjoy the benefits of these services, check out my link in the link description below. Your international student journey is already very stressful. Let Amber Student deal with the rest. I wanted to mention I have done a couple of mock tests which included the new changes after the 7th of August, and I wanted to assure you it's not difficult. It's a little lengthy compared to the ones we used to do before. It's not difficult at all. What is needed is you need to practice more so that you are more familiar with the type of questions that will come and the format, and then you will be able to do it. Apart from doing the mock test, I have watched other videos on YouTube about the new changes, and what I've noticed is they've really stretched it out and elaborated on it, which made it seem like it was going to be really difficult. I'm not trying to be shady towards the other PTE guide videos, but honestly, it doesn't have to be that lengthy to explain what the 2 new activities are. So that's why I will try to keep my video as precise and as brief as possible so that you get the message and you're also able to practice well. Now let's get on with the video. As I have said earlier, I will only focus on the new additions after the 7th of August 2025. The first one is Summarize, group discussion. Second one is Respond to a situation. There is no changes in the rest of the PTE test. That's why I'm not going to repeat the entire speaking module. You can still watch my previous video on the speaking module. In the PTE test after the 7th of August, you will still have to do the old 5 activities of the speaking module, but the new ones will be after the 5th activity. So it will be 6 and 7. The first one is Summarize, group discussion. Summarize group discussion is very similar to the retail lecture that we do in the speaking module previously, but it's a lengthier version, so that's why it feels a little difficult, but it's not. What happens in this activity is there will be an audio played, and the audio will be a conversation or an argument, anything between 3 people, and it will be 2 to 3 minutes long. You get 10 seconds to prepare and you get 2 minutes to speak on it. What you have to speak is you have to summarize the group discussion that you just listened to, and you can speak between 90 to 120 seconds. What I would recommend you to do is make 8 to 9 keynotes. The keynotes should be understandable. It should have topic It should be ideas. You should also mention whether it's for or against, whether the people in the conversation are agreeing to each other or disagreeing to each other. You should write down the facts and also note down anything that's special. The easiest way for you to note down the key discussion points from the conversation that you listen to is divide the notes into S1, S2 and S3. S1 is the speaker 1, S2 is the speaker 2 and S3 is the speaker 3. So whatever speaker 1 is saying, just note down what he's saying. Whatever speaker 2 is saying, note down beside it. And whatever speaker 3 is saying, note down beside it. If you do that properly, it will be very easy for you to summarize the group discussion. When you speak, it should not be too fast. And remember, accent does not matter. It's very similar to retail lecture and also speak aloud. Your accent does not matter. What matters is you should speak with no hesitation and self-correction. When you self-correct, the listener feels like you are not confident, so then you can lose marks. You should use simple words and no complex fancy words because again, you will hesitate when you say something complex. Content accuracy is not important, but relevancy is. When I say content accuracy is not important, I don't mean to say that content is not important. What I mean to say is the accuracy. You don't have to exactly get the point right, but as long as it's relevant, you will get the marks. And you can repeat the keywords in a different sentence structure, but do not repeat the same sentence. For example, you said that speaker 1 does not agree with speaker 2. You cannot say the same sentence again. You can say that speaker 1 has a different opinion to speaker 2. The two sentences have the same meaning, but they used different structure. You can repeat the keywords in a different sentence structure, but do not repeat the same sentences. That's what I meant. And if you look at the table at the top right corner, you can see that fluency has 5 marks, pronunciation has 5 marks, and content has 6 marks. Content is very important. You need to be relevant. You can't just say anything that is irrelevant to the audio. When you speak, you need to make sure that you're not speaking too fast because speaking too fast does not mean you are fluent. What you need to remember is speaking something that is actually relevant to the audio. That's how you will get marks in content. I don't have a demo for this, but I have a structure that you can use so that it makes it easier for you to summarize the group discussion during the actual test. So see, the conversation or discussion was on dash. So when you note down, you need to make sure you note down the topic of the discussion. The conversation or discussion was on dash and it was between how many speakers? 3 speakers, 2 speakers, usually it's 3 speakers. Between 3 speakers, or you can say 3 speakers were involved. Firstly, speaker 1 mentioned that, what did he mention? Mentioned that dash. Additionally, he or she said dash. Speaker 1 then stated dash. Next, speaker 2 noted that dash. He or she expressed dash. Furthermore, speaker 2 shared that dash. So whatever you noted down on each of the speakers, you have to write down in these blanks. The third speaker or speaker 3 then mentioned dash. He or she added by saying dash. Then speaker 3 noted that dash. Although I'm giving you this structure, it does not mean that you have to stick to this. You can use your own structure if you have one and if you are comfortable with using your own one. This is the generic structure that you can use that will get you a good score. And the last sentence, how you can conclude the group discussion is, you can say, to conclude, say something generic about what they all shared in common, or you can talk about the discussion topic. There will always be something common between all the 3 speakers, so you can mention that in the last sentence. That's all for the summarized group discussion. Moving on to the next activity, which is also the last activity in the speaking module. Respond to a situation looks difficult, but trust me, it's not difficult at all. If you follow the steps and the tips that I share, you will be given a situation and it will also be given on the screen and there will also be an audio played. You will get 20 seconds to prepare. You should take notes on what to speak to make it easier to respond. You get 40 seconds to talk after the beep sound. So remember, it's not as long as the summarized group discussion where you have to speak for 2 minutes. But here you have to speak only for 40 seconds. What I would recommend you to do is at least speak minimum of 3 sentences in your response, and the response should have details in it. You have enough time to say 3+ sentences, so don't rush. Being fluent is not speaking fast, but is to speak with no hesitation and fumbles. That's why when you speak the 3 sentences, don't rush it. Rushing does not mean being fluent. The 3 sentences that you speak, even if it's short, if the content of these 3 sentences are perfect, then you get scores. Use connector words such as firstly, moreover, furthermore, therefore, additionally, thus, finally to conclude. These connector words really helps transition from one sentence to another and it gives you the feeling that all the sentences are cohesive with each other. Remember, content is important than fluency. That's why content has 6 marks and fluency has 5 marks. Again, template is not recommended. I will share you an example in the next slide, but before I do that, I wanted to mention that all the situations that is given in this activity will have 3 parts to it. That is scenario, the problem, and your response. So that's why I said you need to at least give 3 sentence response, because that 3 sentence will address each of these parts of the situation. So this is the example. The situation is you and your 2 classmates are collaborating in a group assignment which is to be presented tomorrow. They have assigned you to create the presentation slides, but they have not shared their content yet. How will you approach them so that you finish it in time? So this is the situation that is given to you. So remember, I said every situation will have 3 parts to it: the scenario, the problem, and how will you respond to it, your response. So you can see you and your 2 classmates are collaborating in a group assignment which is to be presented tomorrow. This is the scenario. They have assigned you to create the presentation slides, but they have not shared their content yet. This is the problem. How will you approach them so that you finish it in time? So they are asking for your response now. So 3 parts, so you should have 3 sentences to respond to it. Now let's look at my answer. This is how I am going to respond to the situation. Hi friends, our assignment presentation is tomorrow and I am happy to help make the presentation slides. Moreover, to complete the assignment on time, I need all your content for the presentation slides. Therefore, please share your content with me so that I can add it in the slides. Here in my answer, you can see that I am basically repeating all the points that was mentioned in the situation, but I have framed it in a different way. The first sentence is actually a part of the first sentence in the situation. The second sentence is actually a part of the second sentence in the situation, and the last one is a mixture of the first and the second one, and a little bit of your opinion. That's why this activity is not difficult at all if you follow the 3 sentence rule and you add your response in the very last sentence with a little bit of your own perspective. The response should be in the first person point of view, and before you start speaking, you don't have to say my response is. You just immediately start speaking as soon as you hear the beep, because you only get 40 seconds to speak, so you don't have to really say this is my response and then only start speaking your actual response. You can directly start speaking your response. I have also shared 2 other examples for practice. The first one is you live in an apartment building with several neighbors. The neighbor living next to you always plays loud music and the noise makes it difficult for you to sleep, rest or work. How would you talk to the neighbor to solve this issue? The situation number 2 is while going to the market on Sunday, you lost your wallet with all your important cards. Someone made a post on Facebook saying they found a lost wallet on the ground in the Sunday market. How would you call them to get the wallet and tell them it is yours? So you can see the first sentence is generally the scenario, the second one has the problem, and the last one is asking for your response. And this also applies to the second situation as well. This is everything in the respond to a situation activity. As I said, if you practice more, you will be comfortable and confident in this activity. You just have to make sure you at least say 3 sentences and you repeat the words that are already in the situation and try to make it a little bit from your first person point of view. The next information that I'm going to share is just like an FYI. It's not very important for you to know, but I'm just sharing it so that you have an idea about what's happening after the new changes. The human check versus AI. Before the 7th of August, there used to be only 2 activities under the speaking module which involved human check intervention, but now after the 7th of August, there is going to be 7 activities which will involve human check intervention. What does human check intervention mean? It means that PTE is an AI test, right? It is going to be assessed mostly by AI. But when AI detects that you are using a template and it's not your actual personal response, then the AI forwards your response to a human and that person gives you the marks for these activities. This is the reason I always recommend you not to use template, because the more you use the template, the more you depend on the template, AI will definitely say that your answer is very much generic and not personal. When an actual human is involved, there is a very less chance that your score will be more than the score which could have been given by the AI. The moral of the story is don't depend solely on template and always try to make it personalized and use your own words. That's all for the 2 new activities after the 7th of August PTE changes. If you practice really well, I'm saying it again, if you practice well, there's nothing to worry about it, and you'll be able to get a good score if you use the tips that I've shared. Thank you so much for watching my video and supporting me. If you feel like the videos that I've made on PTE is helpful and is going to help you, please like my video, comment and share my video to someone who might benefit from it as well. And yes, don't forget to check out Amber Student using my link in the link description below. I feel like this is going to be my last video on PTE for a very long time because I've covered everything under PTE, including the new changes after the 7th of August. Thank you once again for hanging out with me and best of luck for your PTE journey. Bye.